last video we set up this super basic scene. You can see I'm in my VR headset here, and I've just got these two little spheres for hands. There's kind of like this rectangle underneath me, and we've got this gradient sky. So right now there's not much of a game. In this video, we're going to add some movement to our character. But first, I think we should spruce up our scene a little bit so that we have a world to walk around. I'm here at kenny.nl. This is a completely free library of assets that are hosted under the Creative Commons license. I absolutely love kenny.nl. They have really high quality assets and they're available to you absolutely free. And they've been expanding their asset library over time, so it's at the point where they pretty much got anything you can think of. I'm going to go ahead and use the mini market today. So I'll go ahead and click on that, download it. It'll prompt me for a donation. These guys are amazing, so if you want to throw them some love, go ahead. I'm going to skip it this time. And I'll just go ahead and navigate to that zip file in my file system. I'm going to extract it by right-clicking the folder, and then I'm going to click Extract All. The default is just going to put it right exactly where the zip is, which is what I want. So now I've got this open folder, so I can go ahead and close my other file system. And I'm going to pull up Godot. I'm going to pull up my folder full of assets that I've got. And in Godot, I'm going to right click, make a new folder, and I'm going to call it Models. Okay. I'll go into the Models folder in this Kenny Mini Market folder. And I'll navigate to the GLB format. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click the top of the list. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the list. I'm going to hold Shift, and then I'm going to click the very bottom item. What that's going to do is going to select everything between my current selection and whatever I just clicked on while holding Shift. So now that I've got all these items selected, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click and drag. And I'm going to drag over into, so it's right on top of the models folder. And when I let go, everything should import right into the models folder. So, you know, I would really recommend against like wasting any sort of time dragging things one by one. It's super slow. Just shift click and you'll get everything all at once. Save you a ton of time. Now that I've got my 3D models, I can pretty much just drag them into the game. They should pretty much just work. If for whatever reason it comes in and it's just white, like this plane that I've got here, what you're going to do is you're going to click on it. You're going to open up Surface Material Override, and you can just drag the color map right in there. And this is going to create a new material, and it's going to set the albedo to this color map texture that you dragged in. What that does for you, albedo is basically just another word for color. Albedo really translates to like the way that light bounces off an object, or I guess the colors that reflect off of an object. So if you're having trouble finding where to drop the color, you can also look for the word albedo. You know, just kind of semantic stuff, but it can be hard to find the color map if you don't know what that means. So mine imported correctly, so I'm just going to go ahead and clear out the override and use it as is. So now that we can pretty much just drag in these objects without any issues, we've got a couple more steps before we can actually use them in the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another folder inside my res. I'm going to right click. I'm going to create new folder. And this one I'm going to name prefabs. So in my prefabs folder, I'm going to right click. I'm going to create a new scene. And I'm going to make it a 3D scene. And I'm going to name it floor. Click OK. And you can see it creates a root node of a scene, and I'm just kind of in this empty ether because I'm no longer looking at my level here. So this is a scene and this is a scene, but I'm using the two scenes in very different ways. So here we go. I'm going to go into my models and I'm going to try and find a floor model. So, oh, look at that, floor. Perfect. So I'll drag this in, and it's going to instantiate a child scene. And we got this cool little floor. Now, what I like to do with models when I put them into prefabs is I like to right click and make them local. And then I'm just going to grab the mesh and make this a child of floor. And I'm going to delete the node that it comes with. And so now I'm just left with this type of node called a mesh instance 3D. And a mesh instance 3D is just a 3D model with no physics. So there's one more thing we need to add to this prefab before it's going to be functional, and that's a collider. So I'm going to right click on the root node of floor. I'm going to add a child node, and I'm going to type in my search bar collision. My mistake. The first thing we need is actually a static body 3D. We're going to create that, and this is where we add the collision shape. It's going to give us this little warning, hey, this node has no shape, so it can't collide or interact with other objects. All right, so I'll right click, add child node. Here's where we add the collision shape 3D. And this is also complaining, I'm not sure why they make you do this 3-step thing in Godot, but it's just what you have to do. So a shape must be provided for a collision shape 3D to function. So it needs a shape resource. So I click on the collision shape if you aren't already highlighting it. And in the inspector over here on the right, I'm going to click on this word empty in brackets right next to shape. That's going to prompt me to pick one of these guys. And because our shape or our mesh is roughly in the shape of like a box slash rectangle, I'm going to choose a box shape. You could probably get away with a world boundary shape, but I'm just going to use a box shape. So you should see this gizmo appear. A gizmo is a piece of UI in your 3D viewport that you wouldn't see in the game. So when I run this game, I'm not going to see this gizmo. I'm just going to see the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this little bubble here, and I'm just going to drag it down until it's pretty much in line with the floor. We're not going to have like a body rig in this game, so if you're a little off, it's no big deal. And then same thing with the bottom. I'm just going to drag it up and drag it up, and that's perfect. So I've got this nice little floor thing going on here. You can see there's like these steps. I'm just going to ignore them for simplicity's sake. So there we go. Now we've got our floor scene set up. I'm just going to go ahead and press Control S. That's going to save my scene. Now I can close it because I've got everything I need here. Okay, we're back in our main level, and this is where we're going to be dropping all the prefabs that we build. So we can see that we've got this column here. If you have any meshes left over, let's just delete them, because in our main level, we really only want to be dropping in prefabs that we've already prepared for the game. So this floor.tscn is what I would call a game-ready prefab. You can just drop it into the game and not worry about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click. I'm going to add a child node. I'm going to look for node 3D. And I'm just going to drop that in. And what I'm using this node for is more just like a folder to keep things organized. This node by itself isn't going to do anything. It's just going to hold other nodes in a more organized way than just dropping them under the root. So I'm going to rename it to environment. And that's cool. So here is where I can drop my floor prefabs. So I'm going to delete this mesh instance 3D because it doesn't really do anything for me. I'm going to drop floor under the environment. I'm going to take my XR origin and I'm going to move it above the floor because I like the floor to be at 0. That's just my personal preference. And then I'm going to click on floor and I'm just going to Control D to duplicate. And I'm going to move it so that it lines up pretty well with the next floor. It's going to look really weird if it doesn't line up almost perfectly. So really try to get it in line as best as you possibly can. As you can see, I was just selecting multiple tile floors, and just using Control D to duplicate them all at once, and dragging the arrow so that they all move along just one axis. So if you missed what I was doing before, I'm just going to go ahead. I'll click on one of these. I'll hold Shift, click on another one, continue holding Shift, click on another one, and another one. And then I'm going to hit Control D. It's going to create another row of tiles in exactly the same place. So it looks like nothing happened. But when I grab my arrow here and I move the tiles, you can see that there is in fact a complete duplicate set of all these tiles that I have selected. So that is probably big enough for now. And now I've got a nice little floor to walk around on. So before I add any more decorations, I want to add some movement providers to my character so I can walk around this nice tile floor that we've created. So this is the control scheme that I want to have. I want to do smooth movement with the left stick, turning with the right stick, jumping with the A button, and that's all for right now, but we can always add things later. We'll go ahead and right click. We will add child node, and I'm just going to type in movement direct, and here we are, XR Tools movement direct. So I just double click. Gives me a warning, says, hey, movement provider not in movement providers group. So all I do is I just go groups, assign it to movement providers, and I call it good. So if we just save the scene here and we hit play and we hit OK, looks like I can look around. I can move my hands around. That's cool. And I'm just going to use the WASD keys to simulate input using the joystick. So it looks like I can move forward and I can move backwards, but I can't move left and right. So that kind of sucks. Let me see if there's something I can do in the configuration to fix that. So I'll just go click on XR Tools Movement Direct, and I'll go to the inspector. And looks like there is a strafe checkbox that I can toggle on. Let's see if that fixes anything for me. So I'll go left and right. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Everything is awesome. Left, right, forward, back. All right, we got smooth movement. If you want to test this out for yourself, just go ahead and put on your headset and try out your left stick and see if it's working. Then let's go ahead and on our right controller, let's right click, add child node, and I'm going to say XR Tools jump. And oh, looks like I missed movement, but we'll click XR Tools movement jump. Gives me the same error, so I'm just going to go to node, groups, and movement providers. Very cool. And trigger click is not the jump action that we want though. Based on our design, we want to use the A button. So if you want to look at what all the actions are, you will have the OpenXR action map. So if I open that, I would just recommend using the defaults here. Click on my movement jump and paste it in, and I'll run it. Now the button for the A button on the right stick is you have to hold E to control the right hand, and then it's 2. So you hold E, press 2, you'll be able to jump. Very cool, very cool. And then of course, if you play this on your headset, you'll just be able to press the A button. And the last thing we got to do is add turning. So let's just go ahead and add that. So I'll just type in turn, and I'll find XR Tools movement turn, create, and we'll just go ahead and add that to the movement providers group to fix that warning. And I'm just going to leave everything the way it is, and I'll run it. So now, if the left stick is WASD, the right stick is going to be your arrow keys. So I'll just use the left and right arrow keys. Ooh, I do not like snap turning. If you like snap turning, you can leave it on, but I'm going to fix that because for me, it's awful in VR. It makes me motion sick. So I'm going to go turn mode, smooth. Save that bad boy. And, oh my God. So much better. Thank the Lord. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. I'm testing everything out in my headset now, and looks pretty good. I think we've still got a ways to go before we've really got any good interactions here. So meet me next week, and we're gonna go ahead and add better hands, and we're gonna add some more props to our world. And perhaps we will add a pickup interaction.